Dan Zagana Lalita Shivsha Kanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namosade Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vacha Kalptara Vishakripa Sindhu Bhivacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vishnavyo Namo Namo Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Sati Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangam Langayate Girvet Kripatam Shri Pranavataram Brahma Sri Chaitanyeshwaram Namo Padaya Krishna Krishna Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Tanam Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Vicharane Nirviseshwanyavadi Paschatya Shatarane. Today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, chapter 32, text number 26. Jnanamatram param brahma Jnanamatram param brahma Paramatmeshwara Puman Paramatmeshwara Puman Drishyadibhi Pratak Bhavair Drishyadibhi Pratak Bhavair Bhagavan Eka Iyate Bhagavan Eka Iyate Jnanamatram Param Brahma Paramatmeshwara Puman Drishyadibhi Pratak Bhavair Bhagavan Eka Iyate
Jnanamatram param brahma Paramatmeshwara Puman Drishyadibhi pratak bhave Bhagavan ekayate Jnanamatram param brahma Paramatmeshwara Puman Drishyadibhi pratadbhave Jnanamatram param brahma Atmanishvara Puman Dristavi pratik bhave Bhagavan ekayate Jnanamatram param brahma
Jnana, knowledge. Matram, only. Param, transcendent. Brahma, Brahman. Parama Atma, Paramatma. Ishvaraha, controller. Uman, super soul. Drishi Adibihi. My philosophical research and other process. Pratak Bhavai, according to different process of understanding. Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Ekaha, alone. Iyate is perceived. Translation. By His Divine Grace, He, the Supreme Personality of Godhead alone is complete, transcendental knowledge. But according to the different process of understanding, He appears differently. Either as impersonal Brahman as Paramatma, as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, or as the Purusha Avatara. Purport. The word Drishi Adibihi is significant. According to Jiva Goswami, Drishi means jnana, philosophical research. By a different process of philosophical research under different concepts, such as the process of jnana yoga, the same Bhagavan, our Supreme Personality of Godhead, is understood as impersonal Brahman. Similarly, by the Eightfold Yoga system, he appears as Paramatma. By impure Krishna consciousness or knowledge in purity, when one tries to understand the absolute truth, one realizes him as a Supreme Person. The transcendence is realized simply on the basis of knowledge. The word used here, Paramatmeshwar Puman, are all transcendental, and they refer to the super soul. Super soul is also described as Purusha. But the word Bhagavan directly refers to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is full of six opulences: wealth, fame, strength, beauty, knowledge, and renunciation. He is the personality of Godhead in different spiritual skies. The various descriptions of Paramatma, Ishvara, and Puman indicate that the expansions of the Supreme Personality of Godhead are unlimited. Ultimately, to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one has to accept Bhakti Yoga. By executing Jnana Yoga or Dhyana Yoga, one has to eventually approach the Bhakti Yoga platform. And then Paramatma, Ishvara, Puman, etc. are all clearly understood. It is recommended in the second canto of Srimad Bhagavatam that whether one is a devotee or fruitive actor or liberationist, if he is intelligent enough, he should engage himself with all seriousness in the process of devotional service. It is also explained that whatever one desires, which is obtainable by fruitive activities, even if one wants to be elevated to higher planets, can be achieved simply by execution of a devotional service. Since the Supreme Lord is full in six opulences, he can bestow any one of them upon the worshipper. The one Supreme Personality of Godhead reveals himself to different thinkers as a Supreme Person or impersonal Brahman or Paramatma. Impersonalists merge into impersonal Brahman, but that is not achieved by worshipping impersonal Brahman. If one takes to devotional service and at the same time desires to merge into the existence of the Supreme Lord, he can achieve that. If someone desires at all to merge into the existence of the Supreme, he has to execute devotional service. The devotee can see the Supreme Lord face to face, but Jnani or empiric philosopher and the yogi cannot. They cannot be elevated to the positions of associates of the Lord. There is no evidence in the scriptures stating that by cultivating knowledge or worshipping the impersonal Brahman, one can become a personal associate of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Nor by executing the yogic principles can one become an associate of the Supreme Godhead. Impersonal Brahman, being formless, is described as Adrishya because the impersonal effulgence of Brahmajyoti covers the face of the Supreme Lord. Some yogis see the 400 Vishnu sitting within the heart, and therefore, in their case also, the Supreme Lord is invisible. Only for the devotees is the Lord visible. Here the statement Advi is significant. Since the Supreme Personality of Godhead is both invisible and visible, there are different features of the Lord. The Paramatma feature and Brahman feature are invisible, but the Bhagavan feature is visible. In Vishnu Puran, this fact is very nicely explained. The universal form of the Lord and the formless Brahman effulgence of the Lord, being invisible, are inferior features. The concept of the universal form is material, and the concept of the impersonal Brahman is spiritual. But the highest spiritual understanding is the personality of Godhead. The Vishnu Purana states, Vishnu Brahma Swarupena Swayam Eva Vyavastitaha. Brahman's real feature is Vishnu, or the Supreme Brahman is Vishnu. Swayam Eva. That is his personal feature. The supreme spiritual conception is the supreme personality of Godhead. It is also confirmed in Bhagavad Gita. Yadgatva na nivartante tadhama paramamama. That specific abode called paramamama is the place from which one attains it. One does not return to this miserable condition life. Every place, every space, everything belongs to Vishnu. But where he personally lives is the Dham Paramam, is supreme abode. One has to make one's destination the supreme abode of the Lord. Hare Krishna. This is a very elaborate purport, actually, very technical.
Yes, ma'am.
And I just want to tell one thing. Before I start, unless one sincerely develops humility and service attitude, he will become critical of his guru also. Because he'll be in the mental platform. When somebody is in the mental platform, whatever mind tells him to do, he speaks. That is the worst thing, actually. This is all my introduction, actually. I'm not speaking on the verse. Whatever mind tells is not bhakti, actually. That's why these classes, unless one comes to learn to change, again I'm repeating it, unless one comes here with an intent to change, then only, of course, Bhagavatam, no doubt, it has a power to transform the especially the words and the texts, Srila Prabhupada's commentaries. But end of the day, unfortunately, we have a choice to make. I want to change. I want to become better. Srila Prabhupada has so much faith on this verse. Tadvag visarga janata viplo asmin pratisloka avadvatyapi namanananta ishankataniyata grunanti gayanti grunanti sadhava. This will create revolution. If you see the first Srila Prabhupada's first volumes, the Bengali, Vabha, so that's what he writes actually. But Prabhupada had full faith. Even if it is improperly composed, Bhagavatam, the words, the glorification of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, those words, they'll bring a revolution in the hearts of people who listen to it. Viplava. Asmin pratishloka abadhavatyapi. Tadvag vistarga janataga viplava. It will bring revolution. Why Srila Prabhupada? I didn't see it. So it will bring revolution. Otherwise, the problem with neophyte, Shivaram Maharaj mentions, he doesn't know how to associate with devotees. If he doesn't associate, he'll not make progress. If he associates, he'll make offenses. Sometimes we hear, some neophyte, Prabhu, person sitting is Maharaj. Immediately that person will understand. He's a newcomer. Likewise, how much ever display you show, still the conditioning is there. Kanishtadhikari is Kanishta. So the point is to make progress, one has to be exceptionally sincere. Trust me, it is not in the quoting of slokas. Or it is not even, knowledge we acquire to transform. Because without knowledge, you cannot transform. What makes difference in our lives is actually knowledge. These are very extensive. Actually, next chapter, Kapila Muni is finishing it. So if you see Kapila Muni thing as a full meal, actually, he touched every aspect. What is it he didn't leave? I really do not know. Bhakti he touches. If you don't do bhakti, you'll go to hellish regions. That he touches. Karma jnana dhyana ashtanga and bhakti yoga he touches. What is it? What is the problem? The family life he touches. Bhakti in three modes he touches. Shuddha Bhakti he touches. Everything actually, the third canto, couple of minute teachings, everything is there actually. I never paid so much attention before. Time is running out. Compared to 311 trillion 40 billion years, what is just 78 years? Srila Prabhupada writes in Bhagavad Gita, after mentioning Brahma's lifespan, Brahma is like a bubble in the Atlantic Ocean. And Prabhupada says, how many bubbles are there? Wow. Brahma is like a bubble in the Atlantic Ocean. And how many bubbles have come and gone? That many Brahmas came and left. Amazing. So, two enemies, deadly enemies. One is lethargy. The conditioning doesn't go overnight actually. One time, I heard this. One person got up. Radhavan Maharaj was giving class in Dallas. Maharaj, I've been chanting is 25 rounds. Chanting is for 25 years. This Hare Krishna mantra 16 rounds. Nothing is happening. Hey, when I heard this, that is your problem. I was reading Bhaktivinoda Thakur. One day he went to Kalna with Bhaktivinoda Saraswati Thakur. They asked him, how come you came here so early? We stayed yesterday last night in that place outskirts. Who? How could you do that? It is haunted by ghost. And anybody who goes there, sometimes they don't come back. Sometimes, they're seriously injured. He said, we also had the same problem. But we chanted and the ghost did not disturb. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he chanted that much purely, he delivered that ghost from the ghostly body. And they said, how can you do that? He was a priest, Hare Krishna priest before. And he said, Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, he chanted always time, it was a lip service. His heart was full of conditioning, impurities. And he was very offensive. Because of that, he became a ghost. Every line I was listening, he was Hare Krishna priest. I am also Hare Krishna priest. So I don't want. So the point I'm making is one has to be sincere. Sincerity to the purpose. Otherwise, what will come? Mind will come. Whatever you think is humility is not humility. And not just out of context. His Holiness Radhana Swami told me two things. You do this with position. I said, no, Maharaj. I want to show that I'm humble. After this many years, 10 years later, I said, yeah, what a mistake, fool number one I was. I refused it. So what do you think is humility is not? But that knowledge was not there that time. Now it is there. When the time is gone. So sometimes when opportunity knocks the door, many people complain the noise. This is always mentioned in my positive attitude seminar. When opportunity knocks the door, people complain of the noise. So the point is, it's not easy to cultivate these good qualities. The real progress, real mercy is actually not the product, or not the items, not the green cards. The real mercy is the inner strength, by which you discriminate, you disseminate, you discern. This is right, this is wrong, this is right, this is wrong. And trust me, it doesn't come overnight. It's very difficult actually. Why? Either you are in Annamaya or in Pranamaya or in Manomaya. When you are in three levels, you have to come back again and again and again. But you will say, what about mercy? Yes, mercy is causeless. So all this, whatever I'm telling, with one slash, Krishna can remove it. Because mercy is causeless, mercy is boundless. So these are the two cents of these are the few lines I want to mention before we go forward. Because sometimes what is that this is extensive purports and people don't have interest. You know, Anton Jaguru said we have 500 deities installed in Detroit alone. How many? 500 Gaurnitais. We don't see Detroit temple bubbling with people. 500 means what? Yeah, I have my deity, sir. You have a problem with one devotee? We don't need to go. I have my deities. Hare Krishna. I can listen class on. I can do whatever I want to do. The moment even somebody sits here, the moment 9:15 they serve prasad means you've already gone to 9:15. You're not here. Then it becomes a karma kanda. Definitely it's bhakti yoga, no doubt. But how do you approach it? It will become a piety. That story of the Brahman and cobbler. Every time I felt I'm a cobbler. After this many years, nowadays I am realizing, hey, I'm not a cobbler. I am the Brahmana. What did Vishnu say for the Brahmana? Narada, that Brahmana takes million lifetimes. That cobbler, this lifetime. So when you tell that story, immediately we'll respond. That seed. Because we know it. But the tests will not come like that for us. Very interesting, huh? Whatever the test one devotee asked. So you want me to, Krishna wants me to fail every test? No, Prabhu. Krishna wants you to pass every test after test after test. The person who asked that question, very interestingly, 6 months later, he left Krishna consciousness. And I have not seen him for a while. 15 years now. So, Krishna consciousness is simple, not easy. Krishna consciousness is simple, not easy. Actually, what is very simple is when somebody is listening, giving lectures is very easy. But when it comes to application, it's difficult. Anyway, the point is, what is that? Bhagavatam, first canto, second chapter. That verse, the definition of Bhagavan. Vyasadeva was very clear. He did not give it in 10. Huh? He is giving the definition of Bhagavan there and then. Means the rest of all the cantos, he will speak on this. He'll delineate on the subject. Vadanti tattattva vidastattvam yat jnanam advayam brahmiti paramatmiti bhagavan iti shabdate. And the 10 topics, Sarga, Visarga, Sthanam, Poshanam, Manvantare, Shanakadhanam, all the 10 topics are covered with this one thing, Brahman, Paramatma, Bhagavan. Hey, if you approach like this, you'll go, this is your path. If you approach like this, you'll go like this. If you approach like this, Bhagavatam, it's very clear. So you cannot hold a flight ticket and whichever flight you take it, you'll go there. No, not like that. Yatomat Tatopat, that doesn't work. So actually, I was recently thinking, wow, Vyasadeva, he gave it like this so that the Bhakti Yoga is emphasized. The Bhakti Yoga is emphasized. Honestly speaking, In the name of religion, there is so much hodgepodge actually. Why? Nobody wants to read. If somebody reads it, they don't want what they can't apply, they want. Bhaktivinoda Thakur makes a nice statement. God is one. This statement he made very powerfully in Bhakti Loka. Means you have seen you're a Christian, you're a Muslim, or you're a Parsi, you're a Hindu, you have seen God. There is no doubt, there is no question. I mean, you don't have any doubt. You know? So for somebody, for different religions, they have to perceive Paramatma or Brahman or Bhagavan only. So there is no doubt. Means that nobody is perceiving it, as simple as that. Nobody is perceiving means, hey, here it is. There is something wonderful. You come and practice it. Then you will perceive it. So, anyway, purport is very elaborate. Yesterday, actually, we were discussing. Karmis are, they have nothing to do with the spirituality. They think they came for this, they came to this world to enjoy. Majority of the people have this mentality. Ishwaroham aham bhogi. Next one. Balwan Sukhi. So, I am the controller. I am the enjoyer. I am the, so what is that? We have that mentality. And to prove they're the best people on the planet, they do little charity here and there. That's a karmi, his life is waste. Here, his or her life. Then next level is a karma kanda. Karma kanda means they know, they have a conception for some reason. Actually, Sukriti is a Bhogonmukha Sukriti, Muktonmukha Sukriti, Bhaktonmukha Sukriti. Means any pious activity you have done, pious activity leading to Bhoga, enjoyment. So you will enjoy. But there is one more Sukriti. What is that? Liberation. The pious activity you do leading to mukti. It means basically there. It's impersonal liberation actually. But there is a bhakti, there is a sukriti that leads to bhakti. Means, okay, some devotee came and said, sir, okay, where can I find the path? I've lost my way. Can you please help? You will help him. Because you helped a devotee, it will translate for you into bhakti. Eventually, it will bring you to the path of bhakti. So, Bhogonmukha Sukriti is deadly, dangerous. Bhogonmukha Sukriti doesn't protect you from hellish regions. You have to go to hellish region and suffer and come back and enjoy. So, but they give charity following, the Karmakanda mentioned in Karmakanda portion of Vedas. Then the next level is, yesterday I was telling, yoga comes into the picture, you have a conception of God, Bhagavan. But who is that Bhagavan? You're not clear. What is that? But who is that? You are very unclear actually. It can be anybody. Or you may acquire knowledge here and there, that's fine. So, but yuj means to connect, yoga means to, yogi means he performs activities to reconnect himself to the God. In our words, Brahman, Paramatma, Bhagavan, one of the three. But he doesn't have clear conception. Yesterday I was explaining, Bhagavad was in class. Some people come, there also it is two parts, Sakama, Karma, Nishkama Karma. Sakama Karma Yogi means he performs his activities with a fruitive intent. Nishkama Karma Yogi, he doesn't want fruits, but he's attached to the activity. He's attached to the activity. I gave many times this example. Prabhu, can you come and wash the plates? No. Can you come and sweep the temple hall? No. Prabhu, plates are washed, transfer has happened. Can you take prasad upstairs? No. Prabhu, can you come and take prasad? Actually, I don't want to. For your pleasure, I will take. So he's attached to one activity. You know, he's attached to one activity. I'm just joking. Actually. So basically, Sakama Karma Yogi means he is attached to fruits. Nishkama Karma Yogi he is attached to the activity. May not be fruits. So I was telling yesterday, because they don't have clear conception, they think, demigod worship and no clear idea about Brahman, Paramatma, Bhagavan is Karmakanda. A person, they has some idea, God is Krishna, God is Rama, like that, Vishnu Tattva. So then they fall into the ambit of yoga, Nishkama Karma and Sakama Karma Yoga. But then this Nishkama Karma Yoga understand, I am coming and doing service, but I need to know who God is. Then he'll become a Jnana, he'll start reading books. Then he'll become a Jnana Yogi. A Jnana Yogi will understand God is Brahman. And I have to become one with him. But Bhagavad Gita clearly, Klesha Adhikatarastesham Avyakta Saktyatsam Avyakta Higatar Dukkam Devabdhiravapyasi. Clear Bhagavad Gita Krishna. Anybody, this is the person who is following this path. For somebody, for Jnani's impersonal realization is very difficult, Klesha. I asked myself, why it is very difficult? Can anyone imagine why it is difficult? A person who is embodied, he has to deal with a body only. When you see somebody, you will not look at their feet and talk. You have to see the first thing, face. And when we come first, we see everyone sees face only. So you try to correlate with other person, the face. Embodied means he deals with another person, another body. For you, you think God as a light. It's very difficult. So when Jnani acquires knowledge, Jnani, what he does, then he understands. To have a better understanding, I need to control my mind and senses. Then he'll go to the next level, Ashtanga. And Yama, Nima, Asana, Dharana, Pranayam, Pratyahara. Pranayam, Pratyahara, Dhyana, Dharana, Samadhi. So the 8, So when he tries to control his mind, then he understands another aspect. Oh, there is one more. That is, what is that? Paramatma. Paramatma is another aspect. So very interesting actually. It is because the books are so vast. Vedic culture, like for example, in our case, we read only Bhagavatam. Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Bhakti Shastras. We are least interested in other books. Yes or no? But we have Tantras, Aranyakas, and Vedangas, unlimited. Vedic culture is unlimited. So, what is that? Ashtanga Yogi, he reads that type of, is driven to read those books, and when he does sadhana, he realizes there is a Paramatma situated in the heart. Ishvara Sarvabhutana, this is Janadishta, Brahmayan Sarvabhutani Yantraruna. Okay, I need to realize Paramatma. But one problem with Paramatma is very difficult to realize. The second thing is, Paramatma doesn't interact. It doesn't interact in the sense, there is an exception to this. What is his name? Dhruva saw Paramatma. In the first he pursued Paramatma. He had Paramatma relation. What he did? He closed. What he did? He stopped breathing actually. He stopped breathing. So, of course, he got the mantra also. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So even he pursued Paramatma, and then the same person, he came out, when he opened his eyes, is, opposite standing right in front of him. So one devotee, one brahmachari told me, that is how, because otherwise, do you talk to Paramatma? A person who has attained Paramatma relation, he sees Paramatma, forehand Vishnu, that's it. What is that verse? Upadrishta janmantaja bharta bhakta prabhurevacha. In that verse, there is no line that says Paramatma talks to you, interacts with you. But actually, Paramatma gives you directions, permission. Upadrishta anumanta. What is that? Sanction. So, but there is no interaction. How are you doing? But of course, it definitely guides the living entity. But as a overseer and permitter, that is what I heard. Maybe, you want to add anything on that? So, but today's Prabhupada mentioned a very wonderful point, Kapil Muni's thing. Bhagavan, if you want to merge into Brahman, you have to take shelter of Bhakti Yoga also. That's very interesting. Not the vice versa. That is the beauty today. If you want to merge into Brahman and you have taken shelter of Brahman, you will not come to Bhagavan realization. But Bhagavan realization being the ultimate, if you worship Krishna and you say, I want to merge into Krishna, sir, all right, granted. You have $20 means you have $10, you have $5. But you have $5 doesn't mean you have $20. So likewise, though they are non-different, but still Brahman relation is considered, that's what today's purport, Srila Prabhupada is very clear. So if you want to merge into Brahman effulgence, still you have to approach, what is that? You have to worship Bhagavan only. Who is Bhagavan? Bhagavan Ishvara Hari. So is Bhagavan Ishvara Hari. What is his name? Parikshit Maharaj. I asked this question, whom should I worship only 7 days? Tasmat Bharat Sarvatma Bhagavan Ishvara Hari. Very clear. Krishna. Srotavya, listen about him. Kirtavyasya, glorify him. Smartavya, remember him. So out of 9 devotional services, already he told 3. Why? You don't have so much time left. Then you will become free from that fear. Are, trust me, we do. Many people, they will, that time comes, maybe for somebody it's 3 months, for somebody it is 1 year, for somebody it is 7 days, for somebody it's 1 day. But they go through that. And so much fear. Because embodied living entity doesn't want to leave the body. Can you believe? So Parikshit Maharaj, Sukadeva Goswami is telling, if you do these 3 things, listen about Krishna, glorify Krishna, and remember Krishna, then you will not have the fear for death. Otherwise, you will be shaken up. In India, I have seen many times these goats, being taken to slaughterhouse on especially festivals. They will be like, somehow they realize it. So much fear, actually. If you try to assimilate that, you will go through a lot of fear, actually, because we don't want to leave the body. So anyway, the point is, the bhakti yoga process. If you do this, the Krishna is the very clear. God is Bhagavan is Krishna, Vishnu Tattva. Yesterday I was talking about, many people in India, Hindus worship actually Lord Shiva. So Thakur says, you cannot entertain the concept of Lord Shiva as being the secondary supreme personality of Godhead. I didn't read that as purposefully because some people might be there, So because God is only one, Asamurdhva, nobody is equal to him, nobody is greater than him. Not like when God votes on deputation, somebody else will replace, not like that. So this is very clear. When you worship Bhagavan, you'll get Paramatma realization. You'll get Brahma realization. I have a question for all of you. By worshipping Bhagavan, who got Paramatma realization? Huh? So Maharaj saw Vishnu Prabhu, directly Bhagavan only perceived. By worshipping Bhagavan, who got Paramatma realization? Does anyone remember? Huh?
To Narad Muni.
Narad Muni, somebody else has told Narad Muni. Narad Muni, he got Bhagavan realization actually. Initially he read, he perceived Paramatma, same like Dhruva Maharaj only. He perceived, but eventually he got Bhagavan relation also. Pururava, Paramatma realization. So by the mercy of what is his name? Vidura, actually no. Dhritarashtra took only shelter of Ashtanga Yoga. No, I don't think any mention of Bhakti Yoga he did it, I don't know. But Dhritarashtra did Paramatma relation. After this chapter, what is it? Kapila Muni's mother, first she got Paramatma relation, then she got Bhagavan relation. But the one person who got Paramatma relation, and Bhagavatam mentions only that much, is actually Purava. So, when Brahma asked four Kumaras to get married, they said, our focus is on worshipping Vasudeva, Urdhvaretasa. But they got Brahman realization. They got a Brahman realization. Though they worshipped Vasudeva, four Kumaras. But eventually, later, when they smelled the aroma of Tulsi leaf on the lotus feet of Vishnu, then they have started Sampradaya. But for a very long time, they were actually roaming in Brahman. I hope I'm right. So when you worship Krishna or Vishnu Tattva, these relations are possible. Prabhupada is writing, but from here up is not possible. But you can attain Brahman relation, then you can go to next level. That is possible too, but not at the one stroke. That's what Prabhupada is writing. Okay, you have attained, like you're worshipping Brahman, and you say, I want to go to Vaikuntha planets. No, that's not there. Prabhupada says, if at all I knew only two people who attained from Brahman to Bhagavan is actually Sukadeva Goswami and four Kumaras. That's it. Only two names. But of course, you can definitely progress if you're situated there. So, and the conclusion here is actually Bhagavatam. That's Prabhupada writes many places. That's why Shankaracharya never wrote commentary on Srimad Bhagavatam. It's very clear everywhere. There are two souls. Paramatma is sitting side by side. And likewise, what type of commentary they can offer? So, but Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada is writing here, Yadgatva na nivartante tadha brahmamuma. So one has to have the focus. I want to go back to Godhead. And I don't know where I read yesterday. If you are not careful, this message is not for Bhakti Yogis, but message is for outsiders. You have no idea what your future will be. You have no idea. That's why Srila Prabhupada, so much compassion. Prabhupada chose America for that reason. You have no idea what is going to happen. What is that? This Kentucky's Fried Chicken, McDonald's. Actually, Prabhupada was going through one day. Going and said, Prabhupada, McDonald's, sir. Is that 50 billion served? Prabhupada said 50 billion are condemned to hell. Prabhupada said that. So, if only they knew what is going to happen, they would never do it actually. That's why spiritual life is all about mind. Spiritual life is all about mind. So even if you want to be in one corner, then another person prays for you. Or Maya wants to use it. This 9:30, this Prabhu has to go through karma. But nobody is there. Okay, we team. Hello. One day I prayed, my Lord, please don't use me for that type of things. Even that's why, unless you're fully tongue controlled, you cannot, you cannot extricate yourself. You cannot protect yourself from the karma. Full way, foolproof actually, fully. How many have understood what I said? Somebody's collective karma, you will be part of it. I'm serious. So if there are upstairs, there are 10 people. My Lord use the other one, not me. I too. No, but Maya says you have more Rajagun than you pure pulled. He has less Rajaguna, his interaction is less. Trust me. This is what I meditate on. Then when I started praying, no, please don't use me. Then I said, like, that's where bhakti is all about, yoga is all about controlling the mind and senses. Controlling the mind and senses. So, and one more point Prabhupada said. It's very tricky. Paramatma is not visible, Brahman is not visible, he said. What it means is, they don't come and you can see with your vision, in your vision. So you may see them in the heart. That's what it means actually. Not that they're not visible, but like when you close your eyes, you'll see inside, but Bhagavan is visible. You can visit with your charma chaksha also, you can perceive Krishna actually. So anyway, it's definitely technical, and I can tell only one thing. Sincerity in purpose, with all the impurities. Why Sri Prabhu says, I don't want to be a great devotee, I want to be a sincere devotee. What is sincerity? How is sincerity expressed? Sincerity is expressed in actions. One is anything especially external, okay, you achieved it. Krishna says, hey, look, your desire, I fulfilled it. Then what is the real progress? Humility. Wow. Humility is the real progress. Internal progress is the real progress. Internal progress is the real progress because nobody can steal from you. External progress is not. It's actually it's okay, visible, no doubt, but over a period of time, it is swept off. Because what is permanent in this world? Change. Change is permanent. So, but internal progress, nobody can steal it. Recently, somebody told, this Prabhu is chanting for 36 hours. He's not falling asleep. That's great. She's able to exhibit certain type of control and sensual senses. Otherwise, it's not easy. It's not easy to protect oneself from falling asleep. So that is grace. That's great. So, the Kali Yuga problem is people don't have so much patience, but this needs a lot of patience. And just to do what you are told to do from the spiritual masters, authorities, then we go forward. That's what. Please forgive me. Actually, not fully prepared for this. That purport is so extensive. Excuse me if I spoke anything wrong. As your humble servant, very grateful for a patient audience. Any question or comment? Okay, whom should? Okay.
Thank you for the very nice class. There is a similarity which I saw between the way we started the class today a month ago, when yesterday Radhesham Prabhu was here. He also started the class exactly like this, where he said about how one speaks, whatever comes to one's mind, and then he went on with those who motivate ignorance, passion, and goodness. But even though it is very hard to control what one speaks when and one just speaks whatever comes to the mind, especially in mode of ignorance. The process of devotional service, it takes a while to, and the intensity in which one is progressing, for them to be able to progress with this thing of controlling the mind and speech and so on. So would you recommend that one should intensely pray to the Lord to be able to think quite a bit before speaking something, so that others' progress doesn't get hampered? Is that a good way to start here?
Yes. We have to intensely pray. But I'll tell you, a person in heavy rajo, tamo lower modes, you cannot have good control on your senses. I'll tell you, one day I tried to sing B.V. Gondmara's tune. And one place, he's singing such a slow, I can neither play the mridanga or sing. I said, oh, he's great. He's able to play on that. I mean, it's much slow. That's how he started. So that is great. Means he has a very good control on the internals. So actually lower modes, when lower modes are prominent, we have very little control on food, especially food. I mean, sensual, dealing with senses. We may speak very nicely, because everyone is very educated. If you read a lot, then you can present a lot. But the real thing is internal progress. That's what I said. To the extent you're able to exhibit that much extent, you're protected. I told this same line, whatever I'm going to tell now, I told before, but you were not there that day, I'll repeat it. Ready? So somebody does something, you'll become angry. Become angry. The left and right, left and right, left and right. And 10, 15 minutes later, 1 hour later, why did I speak like this? And so you tell the mind, hey, what is this nonsense? Mind, I don't want to upset, but I suffer. Mind says that's your problem. You're speaking and I suffer? Of course. So when we realize we are not the mind, and mind doesn't want our welfare, we will make a lot of progress. The moment you react, that's not you, your mind. And who is facing the consequence? You. Roger, when this realization came, I want to eat it. I said, but I have diabetes. That is not my problem. Mind says, that's not my problem. But I want to enjoy it. I said, already you'll go and enjoy it. There is a line in Bhagavad Gita. What can the depression of modes accomplish? You remember that strength? I saw you cannot do that. Very helpless. That's where real progress is internal. So we have to intensely pray. Our mind is reacting, you're suffering. You're increasing your words. And who is your worst enemy? Your mind and senses. But in sattva, you're able to exhibit certain control. As you make progress more and more towards sattva, you get more progress. That is great. I'm honest with you, I'm not that person. I'm also Rajo. The sad thing for Rajo people and Tamo people, if you become senior, you get respect. And their reality is different. Because you know very well you don't deserve that. Devotees, they tend to, they see the externals too. They respect you. But internals, it's dangerous. This is one reason in the past, sages would go to forest and alone and do tapasya. But there's also a problem. Because, Bharat Maharaj became victim, nobody was there to correct him. But of course, Bhakti Yogis, Srila Prabhupada preferred us to stay in a society and preach to the society. But this problem is there. Anuttama Prabhu, ISKCON Communication Minister, said, he is also temple president. He is also GBC. You need one person to reign your life. Entire community, one person is enough. When I realized it, how difficult it is. Two people come, we have a problem. You have to address it. This position is a thorn. This is not a, and one of the two will be upset, your bhakti is gone. That's why that day Radhesham Prabhu said, bring people and read Bhagavatam together. If you elevate everyone, then the problems will go down. Otherwise, even if you're in one corner, Prabhuji, can you come and help? Saubhari Muni had no quarrel with Garuda. But unnecessarily, Saubhari Muni assumed that elderly mentality. We need your help, please. Hey, I'm there here. What do you want? Or he's coming and eating. How can you do that? But already they put mukut, they put the crown for Saubhari Muni. You're our leader. Saubhari Muni said, definitely granted. And Garuda, if you come here, you'll die. For this 2 minutes of worship, Saubhari had to pay a heavy price. That's where one time I made a statement here. Don't increase your kshetra, reduce your kshetra. If you increase your kshetra, this type of things happen. Maximum they might have told Saubhari Muni ki jai. All the fish came together. I don't think anybody heard that also. But because he assumed that worship, elderly, I don't know the exact English word for that. Savior. He assumed the saviorship, adhikar. I am there to protect you all. That unko band bajai. He paid heavy price for it. Anyway, that's why make it as simple as possible.
Thank you for that.
And I'm sorry.
I know it's technical, but I have not understood this part where Prabhupada says, one point you made is somebody is doing bhakti yoga and then trying to attain Supreme Personality of Godhead, but he has a choice to, if he wants to go to Brahman platform. But Prabhupada is making a statement, impersonal merged into the impersonal Brahman, but that is not achieved by worshipping the impersonal Brahman. So, does it mean that, they are, like you said, $20 and $5? If I have $5, that means I can claim that I have $5, but I cannot claim $20. Whereas $20 somebody has, you can claim $5. But here, if somebody is having $5, that means he's trying for impersonal Brahma. Why that is telling that they will not be able to achieve that unless
I can read it. Yeah. I got your point. Impersonal is merged into impersonal Brahman, but that is not achieved by worshipping impersonal Brahman. Prabhuji, as far as I know, what is the prescribed process to worship Brahman? What puja is there to worship Brahman? What vrata is there to worship Brahman? It's not there anywhere.
Right.
What they do is they try to do sense control and they chant Om Prabhu. The only mantra is Om, which is the Nirakar form of a Supreme Personality of Godhead, as said by Bhagavad Gita. So there is no prescribed worship anywhere. Puranas, Upanishads, nowhere it is written you worship like this. People, all these impersonalists, they do Om. And they tell Om is actually Krishna's impersonal feature. And they just sit in it for thousands and thousands of years. And slowly they lift their, what is that, the soldiers, Kundalini. And that's how they choose. And in between they get bored, they read Ramayana, they read, Srimad Bhagavatam, and they worship because it's very difficult to focus. For that reason, Prabhupada wrote like that.
Bhakti yoga, they are indirectly doing bhakti yoga.
That's what Prabhupada said actually. I read it when I was reading, I said, wow, what is this?
I know you took a pause. I was thinking. Took a pause after reading that.
Yeah, because then actually now, then when I was praying, there is nothing like vrata for attaining impersonal Brahman. Yajna for it, there is nowhere. Very interesting. So people, it's actually Om. They are. What is the biggest shelter for all these people? Omkar. That's it. And Bhagavad Gita is mentioned. They will enter into Brahma. Full sense control, brahmacharya, and you recite the syllable Om, Ye, Au, Am. Then you will attain that. That's what Prabhupada mentioned. Okay. Somebody else.
So, my question is related to this thing of Brahman. Yesterday also there was a mention that Shankaracharya is the one who propounded this Mayavad philosophy. So is the Brahman which is already mentioned in the Vedas, he just highlighted it or he distorted the Vedas? Like, what was the
exact thing is actually in Chaitanya Charitamrita Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami goes again and word jugglery, distorted in your word, So what is that? If you read actually Lord Chaitanya's conversation with Prakasana Saraswati and other Mayavadis, there it is very clear. Technically, I don't exactly recollect today, but he did not give the direct meaning. He gave the indirect meaning. For that, what is that? Lord Chaitanya and discussion with Sarvam Bhattacharya, the Vedanta Sutra directly gives the Supreme, it gives the perception of Supreme Lord. But your commentaries are like clouds. You're covering it. Means what? You're distorting the meaning. You're distorting the meaning actually. So for that reason, of course it is said Lord Shiva was asked to, Krishna told him to cover him so that the Kali will progress faster, So that's how he actually, Shankaracharya is the one who introduced Panchopasana. It was not there up to that point. Varnashram Jarada Purushena Parakuman Vishnu Aradhyate Pantananyatatoshparanam. Vedic period, everybody would worship Krishna Vishnu straight. What he did, what Shankaracharya did, in order to cover Krishna, what he did, he established Panchopasana. Surya, Durga, Ganesha, Shiva and Vishnu. He put them on equal platform. But again, somewhere he said Narayan Paravyaktatta. This statement is also not there anywhere. This statement was brought in by Shankaracharya, Prabhupada mentions it. So in another place he is telling Narayan is manifesting in spiritual world, whereas these other four are not. But again, still he put them on the platform. So Prabhupada writes that Vishnu there is impersonal Vishnu. So it's all what's the Prabhupada translates word jugglery, and his commentaries they're covering, but of course his idea was to cover so that Kali will spread. Eventually Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and other acharyas, Madhva, Ramanuja, Madhva, and Lord Chaitanya would come and improvise on that and spread bhakti tradition. As a prima.
Can we say that the process with Jnana Yoga is follows the equivalent to Mayavada?
Jnana Yoga is actually, this is also there, Prabhu. Jnana leading to bhakti is also there. We also read Bhagavad Gita, but there is jnana only. But jnana with a motive to become bhakti yogi. But their jnana is, you are acquiring jnana to become one with God. So it is mentioned here, So it's Mayavada. What is Mayavada? He said, you are God, I am God, everybody is God. Then if you are God, why are you in Maya? Maya covered me. If Maya can cover you, Maya is more powerful than you, than God. That's why it's called Mayavada. Maya covered you. That's why you're thinking and you're in the bodily platform. You do sadhana and your impurity is gone. That layer is, that covering is removed. Then you and that same. Soham. I am that. I am that, I am that. Aham Brahmasmi. Actually, very interesting. Prabhupada translated Aham Brahmasmi as I am spirit soul. Shankaracharya says, for him, God is Brahman. And he established, you attain Brahman, you can worship any five. Understanding? So, and then only that covering is removed. But no, Prabhupada, actually, no, Prabhupada, if you read Bhagavad Gita, Krishna's statements and Shankaracharya statements, whose statement you'll accept? Krishna's statement. Because Krishna is authority. Anyone else? Yes.
I just finished reading the part of the Chaitanya Charitamrita where Lord Chaitanya is surrounded. I did not expect the end of that first volume to culminate in a confrontation between Chaitanya and all the prominent Mayavad philosophers from the time. Chaitanya says that it's Shankaracharya is Shiva, and that Shiva is for purposes, as you said, to confuse people in their ignorance so that they'll seek eventually, just as you said, bhakti. So that was why it's confusing. It's confusing on purpose because, and so Chaitanya says in the end of that text that Shankaracharya is not to be blamed because he's Shiva. That was part of the plan. And then I find it super interesting. This may be the clearest I've seen in my limited exposure to Prabhupada's commentaries on this issue of Brahman and Atman. But he says it so clearly that the Brahman effulgence is Vishnu. And that, in a real way, clears up the difference. But then, if you read the Brahma Sutra Vyasa of Shankaracharya, which I assume is not encouraged, and he does confuse God with Brahman, even in his own text. And it reads just like your average, very convoluted Christian medieval philosophy, something like Saint Anselm, or it's incredibly abstruse, logical, fascinating, but even in the own text, confuses God and Brahman. And so I personally, I'm sorry, I'm just talking, but I personally came to Bhakti through the identical means that you said. I had a guru in Advaita Vedanta. He passed away. And I then went to Kundalini Yoga. I hurt myself. And then I was fortunate enough to drive by here. And that was the end for me. And so that pathway also was possible. It was my own personal experience. And so resolving these conflicts, they are possible, it seems to me. Brahman realization or whatever, maybe the first step on your pathway towards, and just as you said, Babaji, there is no worship of Brahman exactly, and there's no arti to Brahman. The realization of Brahman is a purely philosophical enterprise largely from Shankaracharya, large, and some threads that are just in the Upanishads but that is what I wanted to say. Just it's so fascinating to hear this come up. It resolves so many problems from my understanding. And so I want to thank you.
No, thank you. Anyone wants to add anything? Otherwise, we'll end it.
Overall, when we talk about generally we call them except Sukriti means bhakti.
Ayati.
Punya is there, we differentiate punya and
No. Sukriti means pious activity. Sukruti. Kruti means activity. So good activity means piety. Punya.
that is
That's it.
One,
1 minute. Bhajan, you want to say something?
No, I wanted to know the question by which they go internal progress is
I don't want to be a big devotee. I want to be a sincere devotee.
internal progress is much.
He didn't say that. I added on the top of it. Internal progress stays with us. Externals, Prabhu, let me tell you simple thing. You started a center. Who cares after 50 years? So the externals, I mean, of course, when you achieve externals, you'll make internal progress. That's why externals are also needed. Srila Prabhupada told us to preach. But our preaching is for our purification. I'm not liberated on the Srila Prabhupada, Mahabhagavad, that's why I'm preaching. No. Our preaching is also part of our purification. I don't have compassion. Compassion is someone who is on the platform of bhav. I'm not there. So my preaching is for my purification. When I'm preaching, I'm hearing so that I'll apply. Yes.
Thank you. In general, I mean, you've heard this many times. Pure devotees, they are in constantly touch with Paramatma. So why do we use the term Paramatma instead of Bhagavan? It's not saying that, they are constantly in touch with Paramatma.
In the material world, Paramatma guides you.
But
So for that reason.
they don't take shelter of Paramatma, but still Paramatma guides them. Is that what it means?
For them, what is that? Yes. For them to go forward in day-to life, I don't know whether I should do or not. I know some devotees actually. So they Machitta Sarvadurgani, what is it, 18th chapter?
1858.
What is that verse? Machitta Sarvadurgani.
Mat prasada.
By my grace, you will be able to. So Krishna is telling, by my grace, you will be able to cross all the problems. So it is Paramatma. But once you are liberated, you are, but of course, you are not doing bhakti to attain Paramatma relation. You are doing bhakti to attain Krishna only. Then you will get, during this intermediate period, you will get guidance from Paramatma how to deal with the things in the material world. Only one devotee, he said, I do not know. He said, quoting Prabhupada, he said, my Paramatma is Krishna. So I directly get guidance from Krishna. Prabhupada says that.
Can I track that? What is it? And also this, Prabhu mentioned that, and there's a Satyananda Swami Maharaj also in workshops, there are workshops, he mentions that the new shelter of Sri Guru, he will manifest in the form of Paramatma to guide you. And the Supreme Lord actually can take all forms to guide you. It doesn't have to be something for you.
No, it is true. Exactly. So Prabhupada says, my Paramatma is directly Krishna. That's what, that's what I heard so many years ago. So will anybody on the online? Otherwise we'll end it. Thank you very much.
You said initially in the beginning there are two deadly enemies. One is Vidharthi and the other one is Vidharthi.
Complacency. Complacency in a negative way. I can do only 4 rounds. I'm very happy. So that's spiritual complacency. So then we'll end it here.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavarpanam, Prabhuji. Sorry, one last question, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, you mentioned don't increase your Sankhya. What is that Sankhya means, Prabhuji?
I said Kshetra, not Sankhya.
Sorry, Kshetra. What is that, Prabhuji?
Kshetra means like, if you know so many people, actually, you want to be like that, I want so many people to be connected. And if you do not know how to deal with things, better keep your Kshetra means field, amma, field of activity. So the Kshetra is actually from 13th chapter Bhagavad Gita.
Okay.
So if you have so many people, sometimes, we want whole world to know us, we make friendship with everyone. Suddenly one day they'll come to and say, that Mataji did this to me, Mataji, can you please tell her? And if you purchase it, you do not know whether that is right or not. And that's how you will unnecessarily increase your karma.
Understand, Prabhuji. It's kind of name and fame.
No.
Ah.
Name and fame, I agree with you. Name and fame means people, right? You want million people to know you. You want wide million people, for example, ISKCON for mental health. There are 300-400 people. This is Sunday feast, 300 people came. You will go and connect with everyone. You take their phone numbers. How are you? I'll come and help you. So then what happens? One person, one day they'll come and they'll start downloading their problems to you. My husband is like this, my spouse is like this, my wife is like this. You say, yeah, of course, they based you purchase them and say they start speaking. They're nonsense, number one. So they may not be right, they may be wrong. But you start speaking just to take their sides, just to please them. Then what is the outcome? You will become part of the karma.
Understand, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji.
If you reduce your field, okay, you have only 10, 15 people. And actually I'm telling myself, So then what happens? People will not take your shelter. You don't need to unnecessarily speak wrong things and incriminate yourself in the cycle of birth and death. That's what I'm telling.
Sure, Prabhuji. Thank you. Dandadarpana, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. We'll end it here. Randana Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai Srila Prabhupada ki